Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Newport Board of Education special meeting. Tonight, we face a very difficult task of discussing the potential elimination of certain positions and programs within our district. This discussion for us is not easy, but it is necessary as we confront our financial challenges. So tonight, we will be carefully reviewing the recommendations before us, but understand that all decisions will take into account how this would have been taken into account, how it impacts our students, our staff, and our district. All right, and this is a special meeting, so it will be without public comment. All right. Okay, so we will start with roll call, please. Here. 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 All right, if you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now we'll have a moment of reflection. Okay, first on our agenda is the possible elimination of the following positions and programs. Mr. Watts.
All right, well, there are some things on the list that I wrote to y'all and me about those things. Recommended cutting those. There were some things that were added this week that I think would be detrimental to the district, so I would recommend with all of them. Make a decision tonight, and I guess my question, especially the curriculum department, cutting the whole department. My question is the expectation that I'm going to office. There's a lot that goes into it, a lot behind the scenes, a lot that they do. I don't know everything that they do, but I can speak to that position because I was back in the high school.
Can you explain what the acronym means?
That was the district assessment coordinator. That field assessment coordinator. That for all of the districts. I was back in just one school. So testing time, we think about testing and once a year in May. That's not a reality. Testing about the whole year. That is responsible for making sure that all the tests are ordered, all the kids are accounted for, all the kids are tested. Once testing is over, I can take up all of the tests, make sure they get back to proper place, make sure all of them are accounted for. So there's a lot that goes into it. And there's no way that I can go out with that. It's just impossible. So that was one question I had. That expectation.
Okay. Anything else?
Well, the another one that I have a problem with is capping administrative salaries at 120. This affects, I think, 4 people in the whole district. I don't think that's fair. Things that I've suggested, if you look at salary scales and everything, that affects everybody. It's just, I don't feel taking money from 4 people is the correct thing. Those are my recommendations. So if you have any questions about any of these, got my team here to talk about what they do, why it's important. Try to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, thank you. Well, the board has pretty much been meeting all week for regarding all these positions, and it's not something that we have taken lightly. We have been discussing this with Mr. Watts, and Kim Snap, Kim Klosterman, and Mr. Turner about how the elimination of these positions will impact our financial situation. But we also have to look at how eliminating these positions will impact the operation of the district. So that's one thing that this meeting is about tonight. So my recommendation, since we have so many items that need to be discussed before we take action, the first one is the Director of District-Wide Services. Any conversation or comments regarding this position before? Any questions for Mr. Watts on how eliminating this position is going to impact the district?
So I would just say that curriculum in general can be carried out by the school principals, and then the instructional coaches in the classroom, and the classrooms with the teachers, and then Mr. Watts can kind of oversee the whole thing and make sure that the different principals are collaborating with one another to make sure that whatever plan is being done in the primary school carries over to the intermediate and then also the high school, so that they're not in silos, but that they're still being administered in the schools themselves.
So your vision is that the principals will be able to take over the curriculum for their schools? Okay.
And I think that if we have strong principals, if we have the right people in place, I think that our principals ask for this responsibility, and we need to help them grow. So I think that this will help us grow.
And I think,
Yes.
that sounds good, but there are things that are required by the state training, things that you have to do, preference, like you get preference. And I think that's you well, that's something that we can do. There's a lot of requirements that you guys don't understand that you have to do, and preference. I don't know any issues in the state that doesn't have a personal supervision. They may call it something different, but there's something I know.
But there would still be people over curriculum. It would be the principals, the assistant principals, and then the instructional coaches to administer the teachers. So there would still be people responsible.
Okay. Anyone else have anything they want to add?
It's like you said, they have to have special training and different things. How much, I mean, is it once a year, twice a year, how often, what's involved?
You're talking about the activism.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important to know that a DAC position has to be separated from the
It's a district required.
It's a district required
By
position
statute.
by statute.
Yeah, they're, site-based, coordinator, HQIR, which you have to have, high-quality instructional resources. That's required by the state, and now it's mandated by K through 3 that you have in reading, so there's training that you have to participate in. I have monthly meetings with KD for all those different things, so for that, for SBDM, for HQIR, for professional learning, all those are meetings that you have to participate in and documentation that you have to provide to KD. And there's your the big trainings must be, you may have trained as things change. We know the standards change, we know things change in KU, and when they change, you have to just put in train.
So these types of trainings would require the principals to be out of the building. How often would you say they would have to be out of the building?
Once a month, well, once a month for each meeting. So those I mentioned, that's 4 times a month. Plus, if you have the co-op meetings that we participate in as well.
And are all of those required?
Are the meetings required?
Yeah.
You have to do definitions, it's required.
Now, I did do some research, because someone mentioned to me that other districts do operate without a curriculum position. I was unable to find one. But I only looked at about 12 districts in this area, and many of them are in the district office. They either an assistant principal and the assistant superintendent, and they have district learning, or they are an instructional, they have some type of instructional title, director of instruction or director of curriculum. So it is pretty common for schools to have a district curriculum specialist, someone over the entire district. But some of them says district learning and teaching. So there were many different positions, and I looked at probably maybe 12 districts, Beechwood, Boone County, Campbell County, Covington, Bellevue, Dayton, Grant County, Eminent, Independent, which is a district I believe is also very small, and they all have someone that oversees curriculum in the district. So I just want to share that information with you all. So, yes.
I too, I'm not far from Newport too. There's a lot of people out there I work with, and I can say, not 1 year that I was working in Newport, that we ever not have this program in our schools. So it's very vital to our kids, it's very vital to test scores, it's very vital to our kids. We're about kids, and these kids need to know that someone's got their back on it. So, it's been sitting in the shame that we're going to get in this position. I don't know why we need to get rid of it. I don't know what the cause is. Been there, done that, we still in this position.
Hey,
So I would just like to also say that, looking at this list is not an easy task for any one of us, but knowing the strengths that our district is in financially, we're going to have to make cuts like that. There's just no room not to. Otherwise, we just won't exist. We'll have to be. And nobody wants that. Everybody wants what's best for our kids. And to do that, we're going to have to make tough decisions.
yes, I agree. So, we have 2 curriculum positions on the agenda, so we're going to vote per position so that we can, and we will do a call vote. So I need a motion to eliminate the Director of District-Wide Services.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second. We'll take the vote. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, now we'll take the vote for the Chief Academic Officer position. I need a motion to eliminate the Chief Academic Officer position.
So moved.
Second.
Take the vote, please. No.
Sylvia Covington,
No.
Tim Pearl,
No.
Brad Davis,
Yes.
Alice Pepper. Yes.
All righty. 3 is the quorum, so this position will not be eliminated. All righty, the next one is the 2 technology coordinators. Any questions regarding that? Anyone want to hear from the technology director on how this will impact his department? Yes. What's your plan?
So, based on those projected cuts, if that's what the board decides, what it would look like for next year, it would still keep one at one school technology coordinator at each school. I'm looking to see if I can maybe, if one of them can spend a couple half days to help out at the district level. If it's the district office, one of the positions is retiring, so we kind of really want to get that one back, and the other one in the district wide. Mostly just be me up at the office. There's some big projects at the state level, and when we get through them, it will help a little bit, but obviously, we're gonna be a little bit slow with this stuff. We'll find a way to get it done, but it won't be fast, for sure.
How many total would you have?
One coordinator each school, and myself.
Okay, so, and I know we have a lot of students are pretty technology savvy. So any thoughts or ideas on how to use their talents to help with the shortage?
Some districts have run, and it would probably only be really feasible at the high school level.
Okay.
Help desk. Most of those districts are Chromebook heavy districts, and they have trained people to do a lot of simple repairs, which is basically swapping out a screen, which is just a couple of screws and a one ribbon cable on a Chromebook. For the MacBooks, we have to send those back. We run into difficulties where they're limited. A student helper is very limited in what they can, because of privacy concerns. They can't be in a position where they can see indoor teachers on campus.
So there is a possibility or the opportunity for them to get the training to help out in some areas to maybe help with some of the work, but not necessarily in all areas, correct? Is that what I'm
Right.
understanding?
You could run a help desk program, and there are districts that, in high schools, that have a program, you need a certified teacher to supervise that. It's a real class, it's a class for credit, and not just like a straight class. But there's some potential there that could happen if we have a certified teacher to teach that for a couple of hours.
Okay, thank you. Any more questions for, all righty. All right, we'll proceed with the motion to eliminate the two technology coordinators.
Second?
Let's take the vote. Yes.
Tim Curl?
Yes.
Matt David?
Yes.
Travis Stebbins? Yes.
All right, the vote passes. Ms. Covington, for the record, are you abstaining from voting? All righty. The next is number 4, reduce the athletic director to stipend position for teachers. So that would mean that the stipend that the athletic director would normally get would not get, correct?
No, you get it, like, you know.
Okay, so he will not be on the index. So this basically remove him from the index.
Get him off the index.
Well, it basically makes the same thing.
So his position is a teacher, but he still will be working, some of his extra duties will be the athletic director.
Yeah, it would be that.
And that, Mr. Watts, that would be the same person.
Yeah.
All right.
Once you do, assuming you do this, there's the right of all, kind of like extra duty, outline in exchange for the type of what, because obviously it's after hours.
Okay. All right, thank you. So are we ready to take the vote?
So moved.
All right,
Amanda Miller?
yes.
Stephanie Covington? Tim Curl?
Yes.
Matt David?
Yes.
Travis Stebbins? Yes.
right. Number, next is to cancel the contract for certified evaluation training. Can anyone speak to exactly what that does?
Well, we just hired someone to come in and train for us, get enough gear. So just make it.
Okay. All right. And the public relations, some of these I think we've already addressed and we don't really need to discuss. Do you all agree, 5, 6, and 7?
7.
Seven.
Right, I was gonna, we don't, all I was saying is we knew about that, so we don't need to take any, we need to take action, but it'll be removing it from the.
What was on about this proposal?
Remember that we got a message today, that this position, cannot be removed, because it is a tenured teacher position.
Okay.
I would like to look at it, collaborate with other districts.
And yet, that would be something we would do at another meeting, because many of these topics, we will have to address as far as, you know, there's been conversation of some alternative things that we can do when it comes to these positions. So that is part of the plan for the future. So for number 5 and 6, I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Yes.
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 Yeah.
And we need a motion to remove the school psychologist position from the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. And then we have cap administrative salaries at $120,000 for the next 2 years.
My question about how much is that going to save? I know you said there's 4 over, we don't need specifics, but for those 4 over, how much are they over? 23,000?
And you said something about the salary schedule recommendations.
And then, yeah, that will affect this year's salary.
Next year. For next year, okay. All right, any discussions or comments regarding this recommendation? You ready to take the vote?
Yes. So moved.
Been moved in second? No.
Billy Covington? Tim Pearl?
Yes.
Ed Davis?
Yes.
Bobby Steller? Yes.
Contract with Christ Hospital. Now, it's my understanding that research was done and this program is not being utilized as initially intended. Is that correct?
We're not getting the use that we want to get out of it. We're not taking away the nurses, we have a nurse in the building, but, for the cost that we're paying out, alternative,
On an alternative partner? Okay, very good.
That was for the nurse practitioner, right?
The, health nurse,
Yeah. Maybe it'll do it, but I do know for a fact that the provider price does bill insurance and Medicaid for 2 to 6 weeks. So there could be somebody who's going to come in and exchange me a direct bill. 5 days, patient 6 weeks.
Okay.
So there's possibilities out there for real.
You are? Would you introduce yourself, please?
Let's enter. You're a nurse practitioner, so I think it.
Okay. Anyone have any questions for her? So can you kind of explain your duties and what you do?
Hello, everyone. On the microphone.
My name is Liz Tanner. I'm a nurse practitioner who's been here with the district for the last 8 years. I take care of your students on a routine basis, 3 days a week. I'm here from 8 in the morning until 3:30 in the afternoon. And you guys have previously had a contract with Christ Hospital that you pay hourly for me to be here. Over the last 8 years, I don't have a solid number on how many students I've seen. This year, I can tell you I've seen well over 500 office visits in those 3 days a week. Those office visits are sick visits and well visits. I can tell you that I can see a pink eye, that a student comes down to the clinic to see. I can prescribe an eye drop, and I can have that student back in class the next day. Your alternative is we send that student home 2 to 3 days later. They make it into Health Point or St. Elizabeth. They get prescribed an eye drop, and then 24 hours later, they'll be back. Same scenario for strep throat. I can pull them out of class, I can do the appropriate testing, and I can have them back in their chairs in the classroom less than 24 hours later. There has been no attempt to contact me, no attempt to get any data on what this means long-term as far as your attendance, which is where you guys make your money. Same rules go for your staff members. The last couple of years, my staff members that I see have risen in numbers. Again, I can see a teacher for a pink eye, I can get her medicine prescribed and get her back in the classroom the next day. So it has a significant impact on your all daily attendance for both your staff and your students. I can tell you that I've given over 1,000 vaccines, me, myself, and I, to your students. Those vaccines are reportable to the state and something you will be held accountable for. Christ Hospital does not bill a charge for those vaccines. If those same students with their medical cards or without their medical cards go over to the health department or go over to Health Point, then they do get an administration fee for each one of those vaccines. This will limit the number of students that you have getting the appropriate vaccines.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Now,
You know how much that contract is?
yes, it's on here. It, so the nurses, so we have the nurse practitioner and a nurse at each school. Is that correct? Who was over that program, Mr. Howard?
Yes, ma'am, you are correct. Each school has a actual RN at the school level that is full-time, that is paid through school dollars through the general fund. So there is access to a school nurse each day at the school level. Nurse practitioner is with the school-based health center. So she is the employee, so to speak, of the school-based health center. Because the school-based health center is housed at Newport Intermediate School in the district office, the school nurse that is assigned to Newport Intermediate School is the RN that is also assigned to the school-based health center. So she plays essentially double.
The contract are paying for it only for the nurse practitioner.
That is correct.
Right, the RN.
Yes, the dollars that you would have in front of you is only for the correct hospital.
Okay, thank you.
All right, if I may, one more note, just because this is new from KDE this year.
Ma'am, you need to be recognized by the chair before you just,
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
thank you. You may,
Oh, sorry. I'm not official. One more ruling that I just wanted to bring to the board's attention that is new this year from KDE. KDE is requiring that every school district has a medical director in place in order to be able to give over-the-counter medicines to their students. In addition to the over-the-counter medicines, you also have to have a medical director in order to have stock epinephrine and stock diastat on site for your students. So without a medical director, which could be a physician or a nurse practitioner, unfortunately, those services will have to, unless you're going to contract with somebody else, those services will have to stop.
Okay, thank you. So, we've received a lot of information regarding the Price Hospital contract. Did you find any information?
I mean, if you, well, we're not required as a medical director, but they can be, you know, you could do a couple things. If you, you know, I think Joni told me to talk about 80,000 a year. I mean, you might want to ask her, I do believe Price bills for treatment, do you mind if I answer?
No.
Price does it bill Medicaid for Medicaid patients, is correct?
Price gave the school a couple years ago. Now, I see patients completely free, whether they have insurance like your staff, or whether they have medical cards, or whether they have 30% of your school has no insurance. They have no access to care.
My question was, if a kid has,
We don't bill.
you
Now,
know,
Price Hospital gave permission for the school to bill for my services if they wanted to.
I mean, I
That was a couple
remember
years ago.
Ms. Stewart had told me at one point that everything was price bill. I mean, if a child has a medical card, it can be billed, you know, what you may want to do is,
Can we table this?
I can address that.
Okay.
You are correct. We do not bill Medicaid, we do not bill private insurance, anything through the price services that are provided to our students and our staff. Yes, you are able to bill Medicaid and things like that, but it would have to be set up to be able to bill for those particular services. So the last 8 years, they have not been billing at all. So essentially, it's been free healthcare at the expense of the district to cover the cost for the nurse practitioner services.
one thing you may want to consider, for example, athletic trainer. You know, years ago, we used to have to pay athletic trainers for the game. Now the orthopedic group pay schools to be the athletic trainer because, you know, how many knees get blown out. What you may want to look at is you could obviously cancel these contracts if you still choose, put an RFQ out on the street to find out if there's an entity willing to come in, provide those services, and offset them with what Bill.
My name is Julie King.
Julie's saying what Ms. Stewart, I know, told me at some point during my tenure, is there are ways to bill. Again, if the child doesn't have insurance, clearly, maybe you can't bill. But, I mean, are there a number of kids you think we could bill?
There are several students that would be billable services.
So my question to that is, we pay the salary, pay the contract, but we could bill for Medicaid, and get some of that money back towards that contract?
Essentially, yes. The part of the issue with, from my understanding of what has been the past with Medicaid, is because we have a Medicaid number for the district because of special education services. So that same number cannot be utilized essentially for these particular types of students. Yeah, for other services. So there are other means, as Mr. Volker has said, to explore to be able to bill potentially.
So my recommendation is that we table this elimination and get more details on this program, or we can cancel it now and revisit it later. So what's the,
Are we up against a May 15 deadline on this?
no,
No, she's not an employee.
she's not an employee of the district. This is an outside contract.
And if, I mean, I know Ms. Stewart and I discussed this, and why don't we just hire our own nurse practitioner, you know, whoever, and just bill?
But I would like to look at the savings between having nurses, who pays for the nurses that we have?
That comes out of the general fund.
But you can bill for care by RN as well in Medicaid.
So if there's certain things that are, for instance, special education students who may require certain healthcare needs,
Okay, and so-
then the special education department bills for those services.
Okay.
And they have permission to bill, parents sign off on all of that. So some services that the RNs do, administer, they are reimbursed through the special education department, is reimbursed.
We have, for example, students that don't have insurance. That could be an issue.
Well, but it could be that you just, it could be that you would just subsidize those, for obvious reasons. Again, I think, if you're asking me what I think you could possibly do is determine if the contract, I'm gonna assume it probably runs for till the end of the school year, and then you could allow county, working with the school, her department, to go out there. I mean, there are entities that will come in and do your billing for you. And certainly if somebody that can't be billed, then yes, somebody in general fund, probably get a handle on, it's probably something you can steer to be somewhat revenue neutral. It does sound like it's a good program to have. But, certainly.
What's the best program?
Yeah, what's the best, and I go through it a lot with cities, getting those Medicare reimbursements for ambulance runs and all that. You want to make sure that you're recouping all the dollars that are out there. It sounds like we're just not doing it.
All righty.
Just to be fair, Christ did say you guys to bill.
Ma'am, I understand that. We're trying to make a decision about what we're gonna do here. But thank you for your information.
And I would certainly help them work through how we can do it, obviously become a decent to do it.
Okay. All right, I just want to, do we want to move forward with the vote to cancel the contract? Or do we want to table it for discussion?
I think we need more discussion. I think it's an important thing to have, what we want to have, and how we want to have it. We need to look at it. It's pretty critical.
All right, we're going to take a vote to table action item number 9.
Make a
Offer.
motion, table it.
Okay? Need a second?
Second.
All righty, vote. Yes, I agree with tabling it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Thank you, nurse practitioner, for all your information. All right, thank you, Julie, for standing in for, but I think I agree, this is something that needs a lot more exploring before we make a decision about this contract. All right, next is the frontline time and attendance, 10, 11, and 12. Anyone, and 13, anyone have any questions regarding those? Those items? If not, I recommend we take a vote to move forward with items 10, 11, 12, and 13. It's been moved in second. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Did I say 10, 11, 12, 13?
Yeah.
Very good. I should have been 14, that's what. Number 14 is the 21st century transportation expense. I'm happy to say that we will continue the 21st century transportation for our students, but we have been able to, we'll be paying that out of a different fund other than the general fund, correct? So we're excited about that. And so, we need to, yes. So recruitment budget, any questions or concerns about that, removing that? That's number 16, reduce the number of, how is that pronounced? The sheet, these are smart spots from the news items. It seems that we have some extras that we could have some savings on, and then change the site-based allocations to school-based average daily attendance, which I understand is from there will be some savings to the district if we switch this over. Any questions regarding or any additional information needed for agenda items 14 through 17?
How many of these smart spots do we have? Do we have them? Do we need them?
Everybody, here, put your camera there. So the Smart Spot, started during the pandemic, and we initially started with 75. We've been dialing that back as we've had residents. Down this year, we kept 25 of them active. I think it cost a little over $5,000 for that. We're going to do that further. One recent case where they came in very handy was when we had an issue with the fiber connection between here and the high school. It took us a day and a half. We were able to push 10 of those out to the hands of administrators and the office staff, and they did and campus and everything else. So we had a phone internet connection, so that came in handy. We could have survived without it, but that was the case with the high school. We had zero internet, and that got some internet.
And I think compare.
Yeah, we could keep that. And it is, the 25 for the last year was about $5,000, so we cut that in half. Spent about $1,250. And we could come further or eliminate them. That is what that provides us, in addition to if a student is homebound and they have no internet, and we have to provide a service, we can do that. The federal government eliminated you get internet for like $5 or $20 a month or free. That program expired about a year ago, and they didn't do that. So we realized we can't use the internet provider for the whole district. It's just impossible. But in the street cases, it's nice to have a couple of programs.
Good. Very good. So are we ready to take the vote? All righty. Items 15, 16, and 17, correct?
Yes.
All righty. Been moved in second, correct? All right, very good. Ms. Klosterman? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, now the next is the energy manager, removing the additional stipend, from the high school principal position, the lead maintenance position, the administrative assistant, the special, so let's do 18, 19, and 20 for now. Any discussion on these three items?
You say you eliminate these positions,
Yes, ma'am.
20, 21, and 22?
No, it's not 18, 19, and 20.
I have to,
You wouldn't say.
No, that's a separate, we don't even know who the person is. It's a
Well,
position.
I mean, what did they do?
What do they do?
Yeah.
Um,
Something they gave
Well, this position is, I think he reports to Dennis, correct? Is Dennis here? Mr. Main's here?
No, he comes and basically comes in and, checks the building, makes sure it's a lot, lights off, making everything.
Okay, so it's kind of like an energy manager security position. I know, ma'am, but we don't deal in personnel, so we try not to name people.
And I do know that position, I was in our parking lot during Christmas break, where we were off, and had something to do in the parking lot. And I do know that the gentleman who does occupy that position was here to check our building, to make sure that during the really cold weather that we were having, the building was safe, and that there were no leaks, nothing was broken, and that it would be ready to go when all the students got it. And what we have on our sheet says the loss of security and the loss of energy tracking. $10,000, I think maybe would get a good deal. I'm not sure
Okay,
how I feel. Yeah.
all right.
We separate 18 from 19 and 20.
We sure can, we sure can. So, let's take the vote on the energy manager, position. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, can we take the vote, please? No.
Yes.
No.
No.
Yes.
All right. The 19 and 20, that is the additional stipend for the high school principal and the lead maintenance position. Are we ready to take the vote?
So moved.
All righty. Yes.
Joey Harrington.
Yes.
Sam Pearl.
Yes.
I David.
Yes.
Yes.
All righty, the administrative assistants to the special education department and administrative assistants to the curriculum department. So what's the plan if we remove these two administrative assistants? What's the plan for the central office, staff? Is there another position, I believe the director of people personnel has an assistant, correct, Mr. Watts? So that would leave one. That would leave one administrative assistant in the building, is that right? I'm just trying to remember, I know we had this conversation. Oh, okay, yes, one, yes.
That'd be the position.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Yeah, the administrative position in special ed does the Medicaid billing. Correct. And if we eliminate this position, Medicaid reimbursement is a source of income, that the district really cannot afford to lose. So we do have an alternative plan, and there's been some discussion about that, so we will eliminate this position, but we will revisit it because we are hoping we can find a more cost-effective way to do Medicaid billing. Okay, so are we ready to move with the vote?
For 21 and 22?
Yes.
Yeah, both of them?
Yes. Did you all want to talk about the administrative assistant position for the curriculum department?
After both of them, and this is something that's been here for a while for kids in need. How is,
For you, which one you talking about, the Medicaid billing?
administrative,
Assistant for,
administrative assistant, how is the need to be met, eliminate this position?
And I do want to say, that was the person that was trained to train, that's the person that he is that business training, over business training, so that person.
so if we lose the person, we lose the grant? So wait a minute, that grant was granted to Newport School.
I know that we have somebody that's running over it, somebody else is trained. They require to, you have to have training.
So this one person, the administrative assistant, curriculum department, was trained in grant writing.
Do we not,
I can check to see how that works, but now, something to do that.
I think it's fine to be back to somebody else
Yeah,
to do it, and move in.
Well, again, it's not us training, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They have,
I mean, whoever the grant.
the grant.
It goes way back, so it's not, it's after this, but they want to go on.
Kimberly, all these positions, things like when you eliminate positions, you're not person specific. You're required by law to go with last in, first out. That's ARS. So I don't know where you already fall, but that's the way things would happen. So it is.
So we eliminate the position and the superintendent and his related work.
So if I've got 10 people, whoever's number 10, number 9, go. And I'm not allowed to because of special skill, because they all have the same classification. And Kim, you're telling me they're all the same classification? Okay, so that's just statutory law. I get it. But
Okay. Are we ready for the vote? Any more comments or questions before we move forward?
I mean, surely in our building, we have someone who has the capability of writing grants in our system. You know, I think we're going to have special training for it. I would think. We should be able to replace someone, right? If that's valuable, we should be able to replace that inside with our, I think we have a lot of talented people in our school system. I think that with that, we should be able to absorb that. We just assign someone those duties and find out who can do it and let them do it. We, as far as the special education, I think we do have a plan to bring someone back.
Yes.
one thing you could do, again, knowing that how they have been last in, first out, maybe at some point you consider writing a thing on a position for a grant. That way that wouldn't fall prey to that issue if you have a newer person. To say that, one of the things I've done in my grant writer, you know, you happen to be the newest employee, you know, that I think sometimes if you want to preserve certain things are there, make it a different category altogether.
Okay. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, a lot of these, and if we continue, that is the plan. Right now, these are the positions we feel that we can eliminate and not have the impact on the district as far as the daily activities. We have teachers in place, the principals. So I'm sure we can come up with something, the board, we can talk about, you know, what we need to do to make sure that the duties of some of these positions get done, be it we contract them out, you know, so we have to be willing to think outside the box, because there are ways to get the job done to contract. This district has been there before, unfortunately, and sometimes you can, you know, you only need somebody for a few hours a day. So that can be a contract position. Any more questions? All right, we ready to take the vote?
So moved.
Moved in second
For what numbers?
for 21 and 22.
Okay.
Yes.
So we have 22. Control. No. Control.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. The next one is number 3, the tank contract. No. This is the contract we have with tank services that pick up and drop off our kids. It was an addition to our regular, our school district buses. I understand, do we have a plan if we remove this contract?
Yes. More routes. We're doing.
All right. Well, we can always revisit.
Right.
We can always revisit, and maybe not, depending on what the contract, contains, maybe one bus or two buses. It just depends on, we'll look at that. But we, right now, are we good with eliminating the contract for now?
Second.
Then moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? All righty. Number 24 is elimination of the curriculum programs contract, and I think this needs a little bit explaining. These curriculum program contracts, it was brought to us to consider eliminating the curriculum program contracts. Not, and next year, the requirement will be that the programs that you all know work with fidelity and is getting the job done for our students and our staff, you will be encouraged to bring those programs to the board at a later date for approval. But we, as a board, need to be more in tune to what programs are working and what programs are not working. And you've been working with, some of you have been working with these programs for years, some of you, now, I myself, we talk about iReady a lot. I'm very familiar with that, so that's the program. But I think this is a good way for the board to be more engaged and involved in what programs are in the district going forward. So it is my recommendation that we move forward with eliminating the program contract for this year and revisit for the next school year. Anyone have anything different, comments?
I was just kind of out of this topic. Eliminate the test scores and a lot depends on this position. I don't.
This is not a position.
This folks right here and what we're eliminating.
It's not a position. It is the programs they use for teaching. So it's like iReady, Wonders, I think there's Math and Focus. Those are about 8 programs that are being used in the district. So what we would like to do is, if we eliminate, and they're renewable every year, but am I understanding that? These contracts are, is this correct?
Yeah, you can renew them every year, or 3 years, whatever their contract is with the publishing company. But we have to remember also that we're mandated by some K-3 reading program, we have to have HQR, we have to have a straight.
Okay.
So certain things you cannot eliminate. And if
Okay.
we're identified from this year's testing, you have to have HQR. So you have to purchase those programs, you have to.
Right, and we're not saying that we're not gonna purchase those programs. But these programs are renewed every year, correct?
Correct.
So if we, I think this
So
fall.
this is a new year. We only did 1 year last year.
Okay,
So
so,
for next year, we'll have to renew for 25, 26.
right, so what's the timeline? So if we move forward with this plan now, what is the timeline to, renew those programs?
Well, you want to do it as soon as possible, before the end of June, because some things are consumable. So you want to make sure they're here by August, when the school is out.
Right, because we were told that there were a lot of programs that are free through KDE.
KDE, yeah.
And so we just want to explore, or have you all explore, what programs are out there that we can get free, that will do the same job or better than some of the programs we already have. So that, I think, is the thought process of the board. Am I correct?
Yes.
Well, I see this as we're getting things like,
Okay.
things on, then you guys can bring to us what we need, what's the cost, why we need it, and then we can
you know, just choose the ones we want. And
Well, I think evaluating the curriculum is feasible by June. Ooh, I don't think that.
So eliminating this is eliminating our reading the math and the total withdrawal of that. That's what they're eliminating, right?
Yeah, I'm assuming.
That was the recommendation.
That's a proposal to eliminate this.
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming. That's what she's saying.
I'm
I'm saying some things you cannot, you have to.
Right. Well, this was a recommendation, and the board is here for discussion. So it might be something we have to table for now, because it looks like the timing may not be the best. Now, what we can do is ask for more information, because we have a May meeting coming up. So we can ask, is it possible to have some more information to us by, before our May meeting?
I got some numbers for cost and what you have to have.
Okay,
Now evaluating free curriculum, I can have that.
okay.
I can have a look at it.
I'm sorry.
I said teachers are testing, so I can't even have a look at it.
Okay. All right. Well, it looks like what's the pleasure of the board? Want to table and revisit? Get more information?
I'm not saying the table, but that's one under what programs we need, don't need.
Right,
Like you said, possibility of some
and,
free ones from KD.
right, and this, Kane, you said you could get us a report.
Yeah, I got you some information.
Okay,
Not an evaluation of free.
no,
Okay. I'll
but,
get you some information.
right, Mr. Watts,
If you want to make a motion to require purchase of curriculum going forward, it comes to the board with consideration. We need to monitor it out.
okay,
We're not stopping anything, we're saying we're moving forward. Afraid of it.
right, and then that gives us time to actually go through the programs and get reports, and still opportunity to eliminate programs that are not being used with fidelity or not providing the results that the district expects.
Something you do.
Make a motion in lieu of, what agenda says, it says elimination of curriculum program contracts, I would just say, are there any that renew automatically? So they're gonna expire in a year then. Okay. So any new curriculum contract has to be approved by the board. You know, that way we can monitor them.
That's true, but if there's some programs now that I still would like that report. I still
Yeah,
would,
I
okay,
just wanna know what's going on, but if you're concerned about something being bought that maybe you want to look at, that's usually the way to make sure that that's.
okay.
If it's required to come from you all for approval.
Even the renewal.
Yeah, I would say, should anything automatically renew, not want to put them on there. But other than anything automatically renew. Regardless if it doesn't, the board would verify it. That's the cleanest way, you want to make sure that that's fair. Without you all looking at it and making sure it works. Just require that, it's going to come to you all before purchase. And that's what your treasurer's not until someone tells me she's not going to approve an expenditure.
Okay, very good. Yes.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All righty. Do we need to do a call vote, or are we all good with this? So all in favor? Aye. All right, very good. All right, the last thing on for discussion is the close of Newport School of Innovation. Just here for discussion. Now, who's here to speak to? Yes, he's there.
77 students enrolled, and we have 6 that are,
So take that and multiply that by 4,000, so our finance is wrong. So even if I had 65, I'm bringing in about 60,000. See, and each level, and that's not 60,000. And then you need about 11,000, 500,000. And out, around 74. That's pretty much big problem school relations.
Yeah.
which saves 40,000. I mean,
Josh,
yes,
when
ma'am.
the program was invented, what was the purpose of the program?
Purpose of the program was to remove, for children to remove roadblocks, for students who have a struggle or struggled in the traditional setting, so that we could remove those roadblocks and, get them graduated. I mean, we've got, I don't know how many students, 2 students this year alone who were pregnant, had kids, and they didn't miss a beat in their education, and they're graduating this year. We've had a student come to us at 18 years old who had 3 credits. She now has 13, where we can make her a junior. I mean, and she did that all this year. I mean, I've had students who dropped out asking to come back. We have students in New Richmond, Kentucky, 2 students in, 2 students from Bracken County. So not only is it here in Newport, and we're pulling from everywhere, and we're profitable. I mean, our magic number is 61 enrollments. We're at 77. That's $80,000. So if this meeting is about, hey, we're losing money and we gotta find where we can cut it, so we don't. Well, why am I staying here? Because I'm bringing money to you.
So can this program not be rolled into the high school? Because I know that the high school has used Edgenuity for kids that are graduated early. And they use Edgenuity as well as, you know, take classes at Northern or whatever to fulfill their graduation requirements. Can this program not be rolled into high school and have these students seen at the high school?
You would lose probably half of our attention
Why is that?
because of the time.
Why?
We have students who come to us because they can't handle the big environment of the school. I have one student right now who, when they were in intermediate school, struggled every single day. He's been with us for 2 years, not struggled once. His mom's right here, she can speak on that. I mean, we put him in that situation, he's gonna struggle. And why do we wanna take that chance?
But what I'm saying is, if they can do it online on their own time, just like they do with you, then why can't they do that through the high
Because
school?
we bring them in, into our location downstairs once a week. We build relationships, we meet with them, talk about their progress, we bring in their parents, to talk with them if needed. And I think that, like I said, if we were in that big environment, some of our students would struggle with that. They won't show up, or
Couldn't they also be brought in once a week at the high school?
they could be brought in once a week now. Getting them to come in, like I said, how big the high school is, some of our students struggle with that. Struggle with, I've been bullied here, I can't make it, I mean, I've got to work full time. We have one student who has, mother has cancer, and dad is dying on, I think it's all time. He works full time. We're helping him in his education. If he had to go to the traditional setting, he wouldn't be able to make it. And we're not, and our place downstairs isn't costing any money. That place is there. I mean, we saved $40,000 by that. And our students like that they have that location to go to get away, to do what they need to do, so forth and so on.
Any more questions?
I did get, I guess, since we're school, I think that's part of my point was out, like, the alcohol, and doing the watchful. She did say, maybe, I don't know, Josh, speak to this, 2 weeks ago, said that NS, school innovation, which is an A5 school, about people in high school is not.
Correct. We are an A5 school, and the high school is an A1. So there is a different setting for that, different stipulations that we must follow, and things like that.
Okay, so what you're saying is that when you get those kids to speak on,
We do the same thing on season,
Which is
like 4 to 5,000, depending.
Bobby was just saying that make this come in time to have a kid. That's what it is. That's what it's coming up with that. I can't speak to the web, the A5 thing. And you don't have that. That's the education question.
What does K-5 mean?
A5 is the, I guess, the classification for school. Certain stipulations for certain classifications. A1, it's like the high school, your traditional setting. A5 allows us to be able to do the online work with the kids where they come in periodically and they're able to work from home. It's based on not only online, but where we're able to bring them in and work with them. We can do different, like, one thing we're thinking about working on, for example, is students going out and doing community service and things like that. So we're able to do different things with students because of our A5 status.
A5 is a type of alternative school.
Oh, exactly.
It's an alternative school classification. So as Josh said, they operate on a completely different schedule than a traditional high school would with that A5 classification. So it is based on performance-based. It is a blended learning model, and they come in and do different work with the teacher that is down there, plus they do online classroom learning. So it is like I said, a completely different structure with the Kentucky Department of Education than a traditional high school is. The other piece is to answer a question that was asked about, can this be done at the high school? We talked about that classification. A teacher still has to be assigned to them. So in turn, if it were to change locations and the classification somehow were to change, it doesn't eliminate staffing. And that's what we're utilizing right now is the staffing part. There still has to be someone to oversee these students and their education and their academic pathway.
Dr. What is your graduation rate for this program?
Please, ma'am.
What is your graduation rate for the program?
Graduation.
How many have you graduated from the program?
This year, we are graduating 34 students and 28 of them are walking. Last year, I think it was 18 and 16 walk. So it increases every year. Our enrollment increases every year. We're getting, I guess we're meeting more of the region than just our stuff, our district. We're bringing more and more students in every year. I have a student in Brooksville, or Brighton County right now, that's applied and want to come. So, I mean, we're getting out there, and we're going to get bigger. I mean, it still holds bar for where we can reach. Our reach is safe enough.
I just know that this kind of instruction can be done in the high school because my own daughter did it.
They do offer Edgenuity classes in the high school for credit recovery or other types of learning based off of pathways. They utilize Edgenuity within Newport School of Innovation, but it's more than just the online learning. They have other blended learning capacities that they do as part of their programming for the A5 school versus the A1 school at the high school. So as that, if they were to be in a different type of classification, such as A1, those students will be required to be in person every day, just like traditional education is done. They would just work on a computer.
If I'm not mistaken, your daughter already graduated. So
No, she didn't. She graduated.
she walked up high school, which her last senior year was.
No, it wasn't.
Well, let's not go into
No,
that.
I just wanted to let her know that, you know, she,
Okay, that's,
yeah.
okay. So, any more questions for? All right, are we ready to take the vote?
So moved.
Second? All right, you take the vote? No.
No.
Yes.
All right, that concludes the possible elimination of following of positions and programs. Next on our agenda is the 25-26 salary schedule.
We're just bringing to you all that the salary schedule will, add to that this year, but we won't have any raises.
Okay.
And that would be the normal step increase, but we're not in a position to raise. Well, I mean.
Yeah, we were given the step plus a raise, and so this year, there's no percentage.
Okay, but every teacher
We
gets
get
their
the step,
increase.
yes. Correct? All right. Let's see. All righty. Next, we have a lease agreement with regarding our copiers. Any questions? This is actually a new lease agreement because due to the work of Mr. Adams and some of his staff, Mr. Adams, would you like to speak to us about the savings, please?
So our current copier contract with, Millennium County Flex is expiring. So we had to release an RFP and solicit bids from other companies for services. And as part of that, I worked with Chief Officer and evaluating what came in. We reduced, by almost half the number of copiers we have currently in the buildings for savings, but after we stored them all, the only person we had the best cost per page, and there's a monthly fee. They were, all those from the 5 or 6 we got, most of them were fairly close. They weren't the lowest, but they were very low. And what we liked was it was the same brand of copiers we've had for the last 10 years. We're confident that they're everybody's still making those, so that's why we recommend it. And it's going to be a substantial savings, partly because of the lower cost per page, and mostly because of we're expanding the number of machines.
All righty.
I did, the key is for y'all reference, you look at that addendum, that's where they add in the required language to state about
Yes.
appropriate, the big thing being appropriation, so, everybody says, well, you're in the contract, any type of service like this, they require to have appropriation, it says, should the board determine financially it's not feasible, it gives you grounds to state that, for the choice of law, right? So that's kind of, that's a specific addendum.
All right. I think there's another one, isn't
I have to say,
there? Okay.
And say it's kind of the same thing, they've got that addendum as well.
And this was another agreement that saved us a little money, correct?
Right, this would be changing, our phone service. We kind of have, think of it as a phone service and a phone system. Our phone system is via IT office, that's the actual handset and the routing equipment throughout the school. Phone service is the actual dial tone coming into the building. And right now, we're on Alpha Fiber on the CRI line, that's a legacy copper that is deregulated now, so they can increase the prices as much as they want. And it's also, the providers are phasing those out. The state wants everybody off copper and onto the more modern SIP trunk. And they owe to a new state contract, they have a new state contract with our overall internet provider too, and they were able to get state improved pricing to do that service, and it's gonna save us about $500.
If you look at the persistent opt-in, if you look down there, it does say, purchase invoices to the Kentucky Department of Education sales agreement. And it's just, if you don't file a term by like state contract or something, basically the state goes in and they negotiate something saying, hey, we got a school district buying power. That's why you're gonna be able to save money, and it's said that the private sector is jacking the cost up on copper.
Well, thank you. guess we can do a motion to approve both of these, lease agreements unless there's more questions or discussions.
So moved.
It's been moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, now I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Been moved in second, I don't think I need to do a call vote for this. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you all.